going to do next? Oh, gosh. Is it that time already in the show? It's time for the foreclosure fork. You like that little sound effect or the foreclosure
forecast? No, I love
forecast?
Frank's segments. They're usually really well prepared, and I learn a lot.
Frank's
well prepared. I don't know if they're well prepared.
We all love Frank. We all love
It's
Big
because
Bang
you just know
Frank.
so much. But no, really.
I just talk about what's really happening out there.
And this clipboard is so well organized.
Yes,
He's got the best organized.
You know what's promising is that it's well used, so I know he's got experience.
I am not lazy. This is like 100 gigabytes worth of clipboard right here.
100 gigabytes. That's
I
a
was
Frank
swallowing.
pad. That's an F pad right there. All right, we're going to be talking about are you properly positioned for the buying season? Is it a buying frenzy, Frank?
It's not yet, but it will be. And as Scott and Elisa will testify to, I mean, there are changes going on in the market. You have to have a sense of urgency right now. You got to position yourself. You got to get your lender locked in. You got to have your agent established, your target area established, and get ready for the rush because as we head into the better weather, the summer months, the inventory is increasing. I've had 5 properties go to market in 1 week alone. That's pretty unordinary. You know,
Frank's
I used to
on
maybe
fuego.
a lot of work out there, but that's the indicator right there because I do work with the big banks.
Big Bang Frank.
That they're taking inventory to market a little earlier than usual. I'd see this kind of movement probably around maybe mid-May or so, but
Why is it so important to be ready for it? Why can't you just react to it?
Well, because it's just like what we've talked about before, going out and looking for a house first and then going and finding the money to buy the house. You're doing things backwards. Yeah. You got to be positioned. You got to have your approvals, have your target areas, know exactly what you're looking for ahead of time because as inventory may increase, but buyers, the volume of buyers is going to increase also, and the competition is going to get very, very stiff.
I think you also want to kind of go ahead of time just in case you have to do a couple of tweaks before you to put yourself in a better position. So if you give yourself maybe a couple points on credit score or something, maybe.
Well, and another piece of that is by the time you hear that the market is hot, it's already too late.
Yeah.
Because the news, you won't hear it in the news. You will hear it in the news, but by the time you hear it in the news, it's already been going on.
Good news.
So we're like underground information here. Yeah. Okay. By the time
you hear it on Twitter right away, though.
I don't have a Twitter.
Well, you hear it from me.
You hear
it
from
me on
Twitter.
Twitter
For Clipboard, Frank. There's no app. There's no Twitter
you can
app
follow
for
me.
I would say call it Clipper, but I'm a Laker fan, so I won't say that.
Oh, man. A Laker and a Dodger fan in here.
But I'd go out there, and here are a couple of things you want to do also. You want to get approvals with some of the larger banks. Stay with your lender, okay? I recommend going with a direct lender because the sellers really want to see that you have a direct lending tie. But go out and get a B of A approval. I recommend go out and get a Wells Fargo approval. Have your lender get the B of A or Wells or whatever prospective big bank get your approval for you.
From all of them? Would it be cool to have in your file, not only am I approved by lender X, but I went and did a pre-approval with all 5 of the big banks?
Well, it's a requirement because most of the product that will be out there in the REO inventory is going to be B of A or Wells or Chase. They're going to require you, and we've talked about this on a segment before, they're going to require you to have gone through their approval process. But don't get yourself stuck handing over all this paperwork or maybe even being influenced or swayed to go with someone else. Have your lender contact that perspective.
But can you do it? Can I go to the big banks right now and say, hey, look, I just need to be pre-approved just in case I end up with one of your REOs?
Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. But if you're already working with a lender, they can make the process much easier. They know exactly the minimal amount of information that
so
that
they
lender
can go
will
to
do.
the big banks for you.
Mm-hmm. They can get the approval for you.
Let me stop for a second.
And take the hassle away from you.
Okay, the people are going to be writing this down on their clipboards, Frank, so I need to make sure I tell you it's correctly, okay? What you want to do is get to your lender and not only get pre-approved by them, but ask them to have in reserve pre-approvals by the big 5 banks so that you're ready to rock no matter which one of those banks owns the foreclosure.
Yeah, because if you don't now, by the time you find that house you really like and it's a B of A property, you're going to have to go through the process right there and then on the spot while everyone else is submitting their offers, and who knows what the timeline is going to be for the counters, the acceptance.
That's really good advice.
I have a question for you, Frank, then. Usually when I have pre-approvals, I update them. I give the updated letter every 30 days to the realtor. Should I be doing that for these?
Right now
what's my expiration? 90 days.
You want to update things because if I see a letter, I usually go 60 myself.
60? Okay.
But I catch this stuff. I'm pretty detailed with it. If I see an approval letter and it's expired, even or it hasn't expired, but it's going to expire in 5 days, I'll tell them, hey, I need you to re-up this because it's going to be more than 5 days by the time we figure this whole who the buyer is going to be processed, anyways. And not only that, but I need them to maybe make the adjustment if their approval was for $225 and the house that they're trying to buy from me is $230. I do really want to see that they can afford the $230 because right now, even a few $1,000s makes a difference with buyers right now.
Well, you got another minute or two in the segment. So what's next? We got this whole pre-approval thing and the great advice. It's a nugget, ladies and gentlemen. It's a nugget. Get your lender to get those 5 letters from the big banks so that you're ready to rock. Give me another nugget before the end of the segment.
Well, I think it has to do with the lending side. You want to go back and hopefully you're working with a lender like the two next to me that are really up on the game, up on the changes in the programs, adjusting the program that you may have started with. Maybe you can go in a different direction now. Maybe you're in a better position. Maybe you can afford more. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out and buy more, but you're giving yourself more leverage and more cushion. Because once you get out there and you find that home you like, remember, there's going to be stiff competition. If you find a $225 home and you can only afford $225, well, guess what? When you counter your offer, you can't go up any higher. So you want to be ready, be prepared, be disciplined, find that target area that's below the threshold of what your maximum lending ability is, and I think you'll be in good shape if you have everything in order like that.
I really like that one. You talked about that at the workshop on Wednesday night to a couple who was asking a similar question, and I really like that advice. If you do qualify at $250,000, don't look for a house that's listed at $250,000.
Yeah.
Look for one that's listed at $225,000.
Yeah.
Because then if you need to move up, you can, rather than just being out of the ballpark right from the start. So I think that's excellent advice.
And
that's another nugget.
The workshop is a great example because we had some buyers there, and you could see in their eye they had no idea, any concept, or weren't even thinking about that approach to things.
That's
right
good. I like that stuff. That's what we're here for. We're a show that's consumer driven. We're here to empower and educate so that you understand certain things. And I love when we get nuggets and solid advice.
I'm keeping it simple and keeping it real.
Keeping it real.
Oh, Frank.
Attaboy. Okay, Frank, you want to break it down when you get 24 seconds to the segment?
Break it down. Just
break it down.
Be ready for a fantastic buying summer. I think the prices are great. Your lending options are fantastic. I think it's going to be a great summer. I think there's going to be some adjustment, some balance this summer. I'm really looking forward to it. Of course, I've got quite a few listings coming up and probably a lot more, and everybody's going to have a fantastic year.
Someone's going to be busy.
Okay. Expect competition this year.
Stuff like this is right up the alley of one of our supporters.
Even in this down economy, people are out there buying because the product is available to them and the professionals are available to help them.
Supporter shout out, Equity Partner Properties. Give them a call if you have questions about stuff like this. They're excellent at it. 562-413-1030. Again, great advice, Frank. I love when we educate people and give them these types of tools during this process. It's pretty awesome. What are we going to do next? Let's